This is a Sony cassette sports Walkman. I probably bought this back in the early 90s, 1990, 91. These came in several different varieties over the years. There were some models that had auto reverse. Some of them had the dial on the side as opposed to along to the top there. Um, this one I used for several years off and on, rather marginally actually, and then it went into a box as CDs, and then MP3s became popular. And I recently unearthed this and found it to be in still pretty good working condition. I posted a couple made a couple posts about this on Instagram and Twitter for my friends. When I dug this out of the box it was stored in, the faceplate had come off, and I couldn't find the headphones. But the good news was I did eventually locate the headphones in another box. They're still in usable shape. The right earpiece is broken. I Gorilla Glued it back on. It's not pretty, but it works. They don't sound great. Headphones have come a little ways since then. But other than that, it's, Sony makes really good products, and this is no exception. It's held up really well over the years. The neat thing about the sports Walkmans is that they were water resistant. Now, I'm not going to say waterproof because I don't recommend you take one of these and throw it into a pool, although I'm sure someone's tried. Maybe it's survived. I don't know. I've never taken that step. The plastic on these is really durable. This has been dropped a few times, so there's a couple nicks and scratches, but it's held up remarkably well. There's a rubber seal on the inside of this, and for this being over 25 years old, the seal's actually in really good shape. It still seals pretty well, or appears to. And the hinge is made out of metal. That's a nice touch there, so it snaps on nice and tight. It's probably not going to break or wear out. As you can tell, the battery cover is missing. That's where you would insert two AA batteries. So we'll go ahead and do that now because I'm going to demo this. A lot of people probably, it's been a while since they've experienced the use of a cassette tape. Cassettes are a little different beast than CDs because they're mechanical in nature. CDs actually, or cassette tapes actually came in different biases. You had normal and metal bias tapes. So you've got a switch on the back here. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it. There's a setting for normal, and then CrO2, which is chromium dioxide, and then and metal. And there's basically two settings. The reason for that setting is the chrome and metal tapes reproduced relatively higher highs, and for the people that didn't like the high highs versus the normal bias tapes, you could adjust that setting and make it sound a little flatter. Normal was usually fine for most everything. There's also another switch down here for the tuner. You've got a setting for the AM band, and then two FM settings. One says local and one says DX. DX is for picking up distant stations, which would whereas the local would filter those out. So if you lived in an area where you had a lot of FM stations available to you, you could use the local setting to filter out some of the faraway stations that would bleed in. But if you lived in a rural area and wanted to be able to pick up maybe a station, say, that was 40, 50 miles away, you could switch it to DX and it would do that. The tuner on this one actually doesn't work very well. I'm not sure what the deal is. Maybe it's just age. I tried picking up the local station here in town, and it really struggles to do that. So, but the cassette function works really well. It plays, rewinds, and fast forwards just fine. You've got two headphone jacks. both with water resistant covers. So if you've got a friend that's listening, they can do that. There's a curious little cover on the back here, and I thought this was for a DC port. It is not. You can't really see, but there's actually an adjustment screw that resides deep down inside there, and what that actually is for, it's an adjustment for the speed of the tape motor. So if the tape motor feels like it's dragging a little bit, or maybe it wasn't calibrated right originally, I find that hard to believe on a Sony device, but anyway, you can adjust that to your liking and correct the tape speed. So I'm going to go ahead and play a little something here just to see how this thing sounds. I played it through the headphones earlier, and the headphones sounded a little muddled, and it's going to be next to impossible to reproduce the sound of headphones on a video anyway. So let's see here. No, that's the wrong button. There we go. Sounds pretty good. I think I'll hang on to it for a while.